Yes, sir, it's another standard deck tech for Dominaria United. Welcome, guys. If you're new to the channel, you can subscribe and like for Magic the Gathering information and other trivia and knowledge I can share to you regarding the Magic the Gathering trading card game. Probably the most awesome game today in terms of going the trading card game versions. Anyways, we're going to proceed now with the Mono Blue Spirits. This is a deck tech by Sir Kelby Fetter, submitted at MTG Goldfish website. Since we're going to go through the list and check what their strategy is and what would be our possible upgrades if needed regarding their deck build. So Mono Blue has been a consistent metagame archetype, but it has purely adapted to the blue-red build or the EZ in the recent standard format. Because of the combining these two colors has gained enough powerful cards in the build. But today, since the rotation has already happened, we're going to check on if the possible of going monocolor would still be viable in this new format. Newly rewritten format of standard. So we're going to check the creature lineup. We have first the 1-drops, 4 copies of Delver Secrets and Lantern Bearer. So Delver is basically again what its name implies. It becomes a 3/2 if you're going to reveal an instant or sorcery card in the top card. So it becomes a 3/2 inefficient flyer on the second turn. But the drawback here is that you would be really needing to have at least a variance of instants and sorceries to be able for it to flip out, and higher chances to flip on its second turn. So along with it, we have again mentioned Lantern Bearer, just 1/1 flying for 1. Nothing to fancy on this side, but you can be able to disturb it by paying 3, casting it from your graveyard to transform to its disturb cost. So in its disturb version, it becomes an enchant creature. Enchant creature gets +1/+1 and has flying. That if Lantern's Leaf would be put into a graveyard from anywhere, exile it instead. So paying 3 to flip it and put it as enchant to your target creature can become a good late game attacker, and at the same time having it flying is giving it evasion and basically taking up making sure that you will have enough damage in the late game on this setup of playing for its disturb cost. Now for the third 1-drop card here is the Thousand Face Shadow. It's a 1 to cost for 1 flying, but basically what benefits here is its ninjutsu cost, wherein whenever you ninjutsu it, you return an unblocked attacker you control from its owner's hand. If it enters the battlefield from your hand attacking, create a token that's copy of one of the target attacking creatures. So basically you're making a copy, or for example one of your flip delvers or another spirit you may control, and that token also enters the battlefield tap and attacking. So gives you a bonus creature, at the same time having this as also an efficient attacker, and making sure that you can also bounce an block creature that maybe have ATB effects, which you can later on use again on your succeeding turns. Now for the 2-drops, we have basically Spectral Adversary, but the useful setup here is that you can pay additional 1 mana and blue any number of times. Then when you pay that cost 1 or more times, put that many +1 counters on adversary, and that up to that many target artifacts, creatures, enchantment face out. So at the same time you can basically have necessary combat tricks if needed for facing out creatures or creature you control or creature your opponents control. That will depend upon the scenario, but I'm pretty sure this will be a good utility card by casting at least paying at least 1 on it. So you may assume that it will become a 4-drop in its sense to be able to maximize its ability, and having it also become a 3/2 flashy flying creature in the process. So along with this lineup, we have also 4 copies of the Eliminator from Midnight Hunt. This is a 3 to cost 2/3 spirit flying. Whenever enters the battlefield or attacks, exile a card from the graveyard. Then you may look at the top card of the library anytime And once it's turned, it has a trigger that you may cast a spell from the top of your library if it shares a card type with a card exiled with Illuminator. So in this sense, it may basically exile an instant, so you can have other your instant spells from the top of your library be able to cast at any time that it is available. Since given this lineup, we have a lot of instants that you can cast for cheap, and also have the Eliminator exiled card, so that it can function with its static ability of playing the cards from the top of your library as long as it shares a card type with that card that was exiled. So the total creatures is 19, which is pretty much basic for this lineup, as you would go with half of the cards are creatures and then half are basically instant and enchantment, such as this one, the new card from Dominaria United, Combat Research. So we go with this ability again. It reminds me of Curiosity. This is the version wherein it has another effect that whenever it deals combat damage to a player, draw a card. Its additional is that as long as the creature is legendary, it gets +1 and has word 1. So additional bonus if you were able to enchant a creature with that is a legendary type, but not really our priority here is that we can be able to just deal out early damage and drawing card in passes, and making sure that your opponents would not be able to develop their board by having our bounce spells and counter spells. So as a quick check up on this lineup for the instance, we have Consider. So this is just a given card to filter out your library. Fading Hope, also a good cheap unsummon spell, but a bonus of Scry 1 if the mana value of the card that was bounced was 3 or less. Then we have 4 copies of Geistlight Snare. So this is just a basic addition wherein if you are going to be the Spirits deck, this is your go-through instant spell, because it costs 1 less if you control a spirit, and also if you cost additional 1 mana cost less if you control an enchantment. So it becomes a 1 mana cost counter spell that sort of a mana leak effect, counter target spell unless its controller pays 3. So 4 copies are also added. Along with it as a support is 2 copies of Make Disappear. So this is like a miscalculation version with the casualty 1, wherein you can basically copy this and also have another target for that copy, but its basic effect is that counter target spell unless the controller pays 2. So 2 copies of this. Along with it also a Cell Pierce, 3 copy of this. It was represented also in, I think this was in Kamigawa Neo Dynasty version, but this is from Double Masters, the art. Counter target and creature spell unless controller pays 2. It makes sure that you can basically protect your creatures that was enchanted by Combat Research, and at the same time, since it is mostly in the early turns, opponents would not usually have enough mana to pay for its 2 mana restriction. So you can basically protect Spell Pierce, Combat Research on your example for your Delver Secrets, and attack for early damage to draw a card, and have your extra mana to open for counter spells and other bounce effects if needed. So along with the setup, that's just the basic lands. We're going to go with 19 Island and 1 Otawara Sonic City. But I think I'll have 1 more of this, since this is a good utility card to bounce any artifact and creature, enchantment, or planeswalker to its owner's hand. And I think if there will be new cards from the set, I could also go with the Splashing More for this, for the lands, to make sure that you would still have utility lands in the late game. But since we are also making sure that the deck's consistency is not affected, so it's just pretty safe to use basic islands in the setup. So that's about it. This is the deck tech for Mono Blue Spirits and Dominaria United Standard. I do hope you like this video. If you do, just feel free to comment any suggestions and recommendations in the setup. Also subscribe for more standard Dominaria United deck build and other related info that I can share for this build. So thank you for watching, and until the next time.